What's up? I'm Allie and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a pretty large book haul. I basically bought all of these books right after I did my own TBR video. And, you know, I'm trying to read down all the books that I own, so I thought one way to counter this issue with continuing to bring books in is that I will unhaul for every book that I haul in this video. Anyone who knows me knows I have an incredibly hard time unhauling things. Something about it just makes me really anxious. I don't know what it is. Some quick rules. This is not going to include any library books that I haul because they aren't anything that I'm actually putting on my shelves. So I will get to those at the end. I won't be unhauling for those. Before we get into the hauling and the unhauling of the things, I do want to thank Book of the Month for sponsoring this video.
Welcome to Cupid's Wingman. How can I assist you in getting your heart's desires? You're looking for a monthly book box? Okay. Can you tell me more about what you're looking for? A great selection of books and a backstock of titles to choose from. Okay. New and upcoming or prolific authors. Yeah. Okay. Diverse stories and genres, naturally, obviously. A great price. For hardcover specifically, I love a good hardcover. And no charge if you need a schedule, of course. You know, we love a flexible schedule, right? Well, I think that you are in luck. I have just the thing in stock. We have a perfect fit. Everything that you just described to me is exactly what Book of the Month has to offer and is all about. And because you let us help you on this journey, we want to help you. So you can get your first box for $9.99 with the code HARDBACKORDER. We just really want to ensure that you have a chance to try it and fall in love with it too. Would you like to hear some of the selections for February? Okay, you just hold it, okay? First, we have Peach Blossom Spring. This is about a family that moves away from China in the 30s, and then in present day, the daughter wants to learn more about her family's origin, but they're not so willing to share, especially because they escaped from a war during that time. I know, sounds pretty great. We also have A River Enchanted. This is more of what seems a bit like mythology kind of story. It is a fantasy where a bard and an heiress had to put their rivalry aside. Who doesn't love a good rivalry? I know. They have to find missing girls that were stolen by spirits. There's also kind of like an impending war happening. I know, thrilling. It truly is. Such a fascinating pick. Then we have Don't Cry For Me, which absolutely sounds like it will make you cry. Absolutely. This is about a dad who has to confess to his son basically a lot of his secrets, but also has to explain the trauma that he has passed on to his son. This is really about a story of the lived experiences of Black and queer folks, and it just sounds absolutely just touching and really prolific, truly. Then we have The Golden Couple if you are into more mystery thriller type things. I know, just based on the title alone, right? This is about a couple that is seemingly perfect until they have to seek out therapy when one of them is unfaithful. However, the therapist that they choose has secrets of her own, and they are all tied together. Truly something. Excellent. I will send over a link right away. I'm sending it out. Done. Thank you so much for choosing our service, and I hope that you will consider us again for helping you find all of your heart's desires.
There is a link and discount code down below for you all, and thank you again for Book of the Month. Now, let's get into the hauling and the unhauling. Alright, I thought I'd start off with some ones that have already been seen on my channel before and have just been sitting here waiting for me to haul them. Jade Fire Gold. This is the Fairy Loot edition. It is probably one of my favorite editions of all time that they have done, because it is just like, I feel like so much thought and beauty went into this, and I also love pink and green together, like this teal color. Oh, it just looks so good. It's just so fantastic. So this follows, as far as I can tell, two characters in a magical world. One has been stolen from the throne, and the other one, I believe, is just unsure of their past. They end up meeting together and they kind of see each other as a way to get what they want. Basically, the one character will be able to take back the throne and the other one will learn more about their own magical abilities along the way. And I'm sure I think something about the price to pay is much higher than either of them ever expected, but just stunning, stunning, stunning book. I feel like for this one, I am going to do a fairy loot for a fairy loot book. The one that I am unhauling is Woven in Moonlight. I really love the illustrations of this edition. I love the gray. However, I've just heard really not great depictions about this story. Apparently it is incredibly racist and I'm not even 100% sure what it's about. There's like a magic and a rebellion happening, but I think this draws from history and just the way that it is told apparently is not that great. I don't want to get into the weeds of all of that. However, just know that there are some problematic things floating around about this book, and I also just haven't heard generally any good reviews about the book overall, so I just don't think it's worth holding on to anymore. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this book yet, so we'll see. Unboxing, but all of the footage ended up becoming corrupt, or half of it was missing, and it was just a really not great time. So you guys didn't get to see me unbox these, unfortunately, especially because this one is gorgeous. That is because this last box had two books in it. That is the Year of the Reaper, which anything with gold foiling, oh my god, stunning, and black pages, stunning. So this follows Cass, who I believe is a lord, and he disappears in the midst of a war that's happening. It's years later. He gets out and he returns home only to find out that home is not anything like it used to be and there are enemies living amongst them. There's an assassin that is after the queen, and so he is tasked to kind of figure out who this assassin is and hunt them down, and he ends up pairing up with, I believe, Lena, who is a historian, and they end up realizing that who is after the assassination isn't as important as the why. Alright, another box book that I am going to get rid of. I can't remember if this was a Fairy Loot one as well, or if it was a different box, but that is Grace and Fury. This isn't stunning, but this was before, I believe, Fairy Loot really got into their really fancy editions, essentially, and I do think this is about sisters in the palace getting ready to take over the throne, and the other one apparently is on a prison on an island. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I've just lost interest in this book over time, so I'm not going to hold on to that one. Other book that I am hauling is The Coldest Touch. This was the second Fairy Loot book in last month's box. This is, I believe, this follows Elise and Claire. Elise, basically when she touches people, she can see how they are going to die, and she wants to try to help prevent people's deaths along the way. And then we also follow Claire, who is a vampire who wants to recruit Claire and help her learn the way of her own magic. They end up finding out basically about a murder plot and have to work together in order to stop it. And I think this is the last of the book box books that I am unhauling. This is the Jewel. I honestly can't even remember the book box that this came with. I do know that it came in one that was like a one-time thing that I got. I've had this on my shelves for literally years now. I think on upwards of 5 years. It honestly just isn't something that calls to me. Girls with dresses on the front haven't really been my thing in a really long time, so I just don't think that this is for me. I have no doubts that it might be an amazing book, but my interest has just disappeared. I did get the Fairy Loot edition of Kingdom of the Cursed. This is the sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked. I did already buy a copy of this, but the Fairy Loot edition matches the other one, so I had to have it. It is stunning. I really love the color scheme that happens with this, and it matches the first one. This is about a girl whose her twin sister is murdered, and she ends up summoning what she thinks is a demon from hell, but ends up being one of the princes of hell. And they work together to try to solve her sister's murder, but there's so much more happening than that. For this one, I'm going to be unhauling Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I know that this is a really beloved book. It has been sitting on my shelves for years now. Over the years, I feel like I've just heard more and more not great things about the book. So my interest apparently wasn't that high to begin with, or I wouldn't have let this sit on my shelf for literally years. So I do think it is time to just let this go, let someone else who might really need or want this book to have it. It's just, I feel like I've heard so much about this already. I already know the story, so I don't really feel the need to read it. I think if I would read it in the future, I would just get it from the library. I did receive an ARC, and that is The Girl Who Knew Too Much. This is from Fire Reads. Girl who is humiliated on social media. She's trying to come back from that, as, you know, teenagers want to do, and she ends up getting picked for a reality TV show, and it is on a deserted island. They are looking for lost treasure. So she ends up getting dropped on this island. There is no outside communication, and then accidents start happening to the contestants. So she has to figure out who she can trust and try not to be a victim to this game. An ARC for an ARC, I'm going to get rid of Ghosts of Harvard. This is, I don't even know at this point. I've had this for years. I think I picked it up thinking it was going to be like a dark academia book, but I do think it is a fiction that has like real history mixed in with it, and I have heard just absolutely terrible things about this. It's just so apparently bland and boring and just like too much, apparently. It just, I think, really gets lost in all the details. A woman's brother died on campus, and so she goes to Harvard, I believe, in order to figure out what actually happened to him. So I don't know, it's been sitting on my shelf for a few years now, and I just have no desire to read it anymore after hearing a lot of my friends say that it just wasn't good. And I also picked up The Wolf of Oren Yarrow for a video that I am doing. This is a fantasy, very political, based about a woman, her husband and her are getting ready to be crowned king and queen of this land, of this territory, and the day before they are crowned, he disappears and leaves her and their son behind. She hasn't really heard from him in 5 years. 5 years go by, and she gets a random letter that basically is him wanting to meet up. So she has to travel to a different territory. Now, they're all on the brink of war. Everything is just chaos. And basically wants to figure out what the heck does he want and where the hickety heck has he been. But there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of detours that happen along the way. For this one, I am getting rid of Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. I know that so many people love these books, but honestly, it just feels like too much of a commitment for me at this time, and not really something that I plan on reading anytime soon. Just nothing about it really intrigues me, to be honest. So I do think I'm going to get rid of this. I don't even know. This is about like sisters, a family of women who get cursed that like every man they fall in love with will die or something. They're trying to break that curse. I honestly don't really care. So I'm getting rid of Magic Lessons. It is unfortunate because I love this cover. This cover is stunning. I just am not going to read it. And if it is that great, someone else, I'm sure, will love to see that for free on a free shelf somewhere. So next we have When You Trap a Tiger, and this was last year's Newbery Award winner, so I was intrigued by it. It also is just beautiful, middle grade. This is about a girl, her grandmother is dying, and a magical tiger appears and is basically like, I will make a deal. Your family stole something from me. If you basically return this item, we will make your grandma healthy again. The problem is that tigers are known for being, I believe, quite cunning, and so she's a little nervous about making a deal with the tiger, and she recruits the help of her friends to kind of face the tigers and be brave in this moment. Since I just got rid of Magic Lessons, I feel like I have to also get rid of the Book of Magic, which is also in this series, so this is just going along with that one. It's not something that I plan on reading, so book I am hauling is The Sea is Salt and So Am I. Mostly this cover. This cover is just stunning, okay? But this is about, I believe, like 3 friends, and they live in a small town, and a storm has kind of devastated the small town. One of them really wants to, like, help fix the town. Another one is running away from their problems, and another one is looking to unalive themselves by going out for a swim and not returning. However, they do return, and this puts in motion a whole set of things that just is like a domino effect into affecting their friendships and their relationships and also their town and bringing out secrets. These are the types of stories that I just eat up. I love a small like beach town with like a really depressing undertone. So I eat these stories up. I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy this. Whether or not I should enjoy it is another question. I'm going to be getting rid of highly illogical behavior. As you can see, I have tried to read this book in the past. It is relatively short. Just something about it just wasn't really speaking to me. Every time I've attempted to read it, I immediately forgot I was reading it. It follows a character who I believe has agoraphobia, doesn't leave the house, and then we have a character that wants to come in and fix him. So the overall premise is a little weird to me to begin with. I was interested. I've held on to it so long because I love this cover, but I think I am beyond the point of having interest in this. So we have the Library of the Dead. I feel like I've been seeing a good amount of hype about this book, and also the cover really speaks to me in some way. It's bold, and also just the two-tone colors. Love. This is about a woman, I believe, who can talk to ghosts and basically uses this ability to bring back messages from the dead and kind of, you know, share those. However, things get a little weird when these ghosts are telling her that someone in her town is bewitching children to leave them empty husks. So she tries to discover who in her town is doing this awful thing. I'm going to be getting rid of folded notes from high school. Me and YA contemporaries just haven't really been vibing in the past 2 years, and this one has also been sitting on my shelf for quite some time. I kind of glance over it every time I'm looking for a book to read off my shelves. There isn't even much of a synopsis anywhere on the book for me to even know what exactly this is about. I'd have to go look it up, so I don't know. I'm just like not intrigued. I'm assuming it's like Mean Girls and romance and just sharing notes and whatnot, and I'm just kind of like beyond that now. I don't know if I'm going to count this next book towards an unhaul because this is more of a display book, not one that I plan on reading. That is the Modern Witchcraft Guide to Fairies. Mostly picked this up because this book looks stunning. It just has stuff about fairies and stuff in it, so it's probably not something that I plan on like reading. I'll probably just use this more as a display book, so I'm not going to unhaul anything for that. Then we have the Firekeeper's Daughter. So many people have just absolutely raved about this book. It's also stunning. We see a theme. I am a cover whore. I believe this is about a girl who gets pulled into a police investigation that involves a drug that has been going around in her community. Uses her knowledge of like chemistry, and also she is indigenous, and so uses that knowledge of medicine to kind of help in this, but then she realizes that the police might not have the right goal in mind. I just have heard fantastic things about this, so I am really intrigued to get to that. For this, I am getting rid of We Are the Brennans. Now, I don't have a cover on this because this is an extra copy. I have another copy that has a cover. I somehow got sent an extra one without one, so I'm just getting rid of my second copy. Don't ask me what this is about. I know it's a family and they have secrets. That's off the top of my head. I bought this book, and then immediately after buying this book, I heard not great things about this book, so I'm second guessing. That is The Lost Village, and I believe this is about something happened in this village, and like everyone disappeared basically, and then this filmmaker goes in to try to learn about what has happened in this village, and then like things start happening to the equipment and the crew, and like things are just weird. I don't know, I've just heard some kind of mixed things about this, and now I'm a little nervous, but the premise still very much intrigues me, so hopefully it's okay. Getting rid of the things they carried. I think this is like about Vietnam War. I do know that this is like quite the classic type story, but honestly, it's just not something that I personally have an interest in anymore. This is something that I would probably listen to from the library anyway, so maybe in the future, but not a subject matter that I am currently intrigued by. Which is weird, because my next book is a World 2 book that I'm hauling, and that is At the Wolf's Table. This follows Rosa, who ends up being recruited. She is pulled by the SS and recruited to be one of Hitler's tasters. And basically she has to taste his food before he does to make sure that it's not poisoned. So anytime she eats, she might be poisoned. There are, I believe, 9 women that do this, and so they end up kind of being fractured between those who are loyal to Hitler and those who are not, and how that ends up coming to a head. Being rid of every moment after 3 friends, and apparently a school shooting one day kills one of them. One of them becomes kind of like the poster child for like surviving the shooting, and the other one is racked with guilt for skipping school that day, and how that, you know, how they deal with that as they go. I don't want to read about school shootings, to be honest. No thank you at this time. Maybe, I'm sure this is an incredibly important book, but it's just not a subject matter that I feel I personally can read. I don't know if this one also counts. I already own a copy of this book and I have read it, so I'm not going to count it towards the unhaul. This is Frankenstein. I just really, really love this edition. It's stunning. This is a work of art. I love this, so that was the main reason I got this. It's a classic, and I think that this is a beautiful addition. Also hauling The Hunger, though, I believe is kind of a retelling of the Donner Party, which, for those who might not know, is a group that was headed out west and ended up getting stuck in the mountains, and as they were dying off, they had to eat each other to survive. So this is kind of like a retelling, like I think like a kind of supernatural horror retelling, in that they get stuck in these mountains and then something starts picking them off as the people start disappearing. So it's a different twist on how I believe the people may have died. So I've heard really fantastic things about Alma Katsu's writing, so I am intrigued. Doesn't match the same energy at all, but I'm getting rid of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. Again, another one that I have attempted to read several times, but my contemporaries haven't really been meshing very well. Also, this is like over 10 years old, and I just didn't find it that interesting as I was reading it. It felt 10 years old as I was reading it, and I just don't, it's one of those ones where like you can only really read it maybe 2 months out of the year because it's based around like Christmas time, so I don't know, just not really intrigued. It's like 2 characters, I think, end up spending Christmas together because their families are away, and they create a book of dares or something. I'm just not, I'll watch the Netflix show or movie or whatever the heck it is. Then we have The Beautiful Ones, and this follows Nina. She is trying to join the ranks of the beautiful ones in society. They are like these elite members of society. She is also a telekinesis, and she is having a really hard time controlling her powers, and it's starting a lot of rumors and gossip around her, which she doesn't want. She wants to become one of the beautiful ones. So she ends up meeting Hector. He's also a telekinesis, and he helps her manage her power, and they are kind of falling in love along the way. However, Hector has a secret. Hector, what are you doing? So, this is another stunning cover. I also really have enjoying Sylvia Moreno Garcia's writing lately, so hopefully I will love this one as well. Hey, guess what? Continuing on with the series, 12 Days of Dash and Lily can also go. I don't know why this book needed a sequel of some sort, so same issues with the first one. Paperback and hardback, I'm a monster. I'm a monster. Then we have The Archive of the Forgotten. This is the sequel to the Library of the Undead. I don't really know much about the series, but the covers really intrigued me. Also, it's the Library from Hell. I think it's like everything that doesn't get written ends up going to the Library of Hell, and we follow like the librarian, and then there's like a hero that gets involved, and like we don't want heroes or something along the lines. I don't remember. But I kind of want to binge the series, so I ended up picking up the sequel. I hope that I love it. I've heard really mixed things about it, but I hope that I love it. And guess what? For some reason, I bought like the 3rd one in that series, Sam and Isla's Last Hurrah. This takes place at, I think it's like characters that were in that. It's like a spin-off, and this one takes place at New Year's, and I don't care anymore. I just don't. So those can go. I'm gonna have to start hunting for books. I don't have enough. books to unhaul. Then we have Blacktop Wasteland. I have heard really fantastic things about this book. It's been on my list for a while, and when I saw it, I ended up getting this book for like $3. I was like, yes, please. Yes, please. This is about a man who goes by the name of Bug. He used to be a getaway driver, and now he has kind of gotten out of that. He is a loving husband, a hardworking man, but someone comes to him with like the heist of a lifetime, and he has to grapple with how he wants to proceed with this, you know? I've heard absolutely fantastic things about it though. They want to get rid of white bodies. This is about, I believe, twin sisters. One of them is in a I believe is married to a man named Felix, and Felix is quite abusive, I believe. So the one sister tries to reach out for help from a group, and then someone from the group goes missing, and then Felix dies. And they think it might be murder, but who done did it type thing. And I don't know. This just like, I don't think I really have an interest in this. If so, again, something I can get from the library and listen to. This would definitely be one that I would listen to more than anything, but I don't know, this just isn't something that's speaking to me currently. Then we have Blackwater Sister. This is about a girl who ends up hearing voices, and she's not really sure what's going on, only to find out that it is her grandmother's voice in her head. Her grandma has since passed, but when her grandmother was alive, she was kind of an avatar for the Blackwater Sister, which is a god. So the grandmother has decided that she is going to help her get revenge because someone has like offended the Blackwater sister god. So basically the grandmother has decided that this girl is going to help her get revenge, whether she wants to or not, and kind of threatens to use her personal life against her. So this is just like drama. The drama and the magic, I am here for it. Getting rid of the escape room. I did read this one. It was enjoyable, but it's not ever anything I'm going to ever revisit. It was okay. I didn't really love the ending. People that go to this location thinking that they're going to get something, but they end up getting trapped there and basically have to figure out how they're all connected before they like die off and whatnot. It sounds way more interesting than it actually was, to be honest, so I'm just gonna pass that along, see if someone else will enjoy that one a little bit more. I'm also hauling The Echo Wife, which was on my TBR last year. I didn't realize just how short this is, but this is about a woman who has a clone of herself who is having an affair with her husband. And her husband ends up dying, and they both have to clean up the mess. I don't know, something about it is just really intriguing to me. I am getting rid of Hillbilly Elegy. I'll have to find the dust jacket to get rid of this. This is about a family in the Appalachian Mountains, and I've heard not great things about this, especially as someone who lives in the Appalachian Mountains. So people around here have not had necessarily the best reaction to this book. So it's also not really something that I care to read because I've had family that have lived this. So for some reason I would just get it from the library. Then I also picked up Darling by Kay Ankrum. Everyone, I feel like, has been raving about Kay Ankrum's writing. This is a Peter Pan retelling, but it's set in like an urban setting. A girl finds Peter Pan and she thinks they're going to a party, but they end up going to the underground. She makes these friends. Captain Hook is after them, and she has to make sure that they all survive the night, basically. So I'm intrigued. I've heard really great things about the writing, so we will see. I'm getting rid of The Nature of Witches. Now, this is the ARC. I do own the finished copy, so I don't need to hold on to an ARC of this. This is about witches. I believe that their powers peak in the season of which they were born, and their powers are based around the season that they were born. I think this is about a girl who has fire powers that are like out of control, but she ends up really needing to use them to save a bunch of people that she loves. Also picked up Rule of Wolves, and this is the sequel to King of Scars. I want to just kind of binge this series this duology as a whole, and this follows Nikolai, I believe, from the Grisha series. So I'm not going to go too much into details because I honestly don't really know. Also getting rid of The Smoke Thieves. I've had this on my shelf for years. It isn't really a series that has interested me. I honestly couldn't even tell you the premise of it off the top of my head. and I just don't think I've really seen anyone talking about it, and I've just kind of lost interest in it. And then this last one I am not counting as an unhaul because I do already own this book in ARC form, but I wanted a finished copy, and that is Bunny. This is about kind of like this group of girls on campus who I believe are known as, they just call each other Bunny, so they're known as like the Bunnies or something, and we follow a woman who is trying to become one, I believe. But this is a dark academia book, which is why I'm intrigued. So, I've also heard that I will absolutely love it. I have 3 library books here to show. Burn for Me, which is a urban fantasy kind of paranormal type romance, and this is about a woman who is a detective, and she has been sent on kind of a suicide mission to bring down one of the most powerful mages in the town, or else like she will lose everything. And she ends up coming across Mad, who is probably one of the most dangerous men in the world, and they have to work together, but he's kind of a pain in the ass, you know. So I also picked up Where the Drowned Girls Go, and this is the 7th in the Wayward Children series. This does follow pre-established characters within the series, so you do have to kind of read everything up to this point in order to understand it. And this one does take place mostly in our world, only hints at some of the other worlds that we go to. So I'm not gonna go into too much. There's 7 books in this series. Like, we're too deep in for me to even explain to you what would even happen here. And the last one I picked up is The River Has Teeth. This is a mystery fantasy. We follow one girl, her mom has become a monster. Their family is known for like magical powers, and something goes wrong and her mom becomes like this river monster basically. So she's trying to lock her away, keep everyone safe from her mom, but then we follow another girl, her sister has gone missing. And she ends up coming to this magical family. She is desperate to find an answer to what happened to her sister. And this sparks the fact that maybe mom has been out on the loose. And all these other girls start to go missing. Just saying. Everything that I am hauling, the stack of unhauling has since fallen over because the cats decided they didn't like it standing up, apparently. So that is, it's almost as tall as me sitting down. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna go drop these off at my library and put them out free in the community for other people to take and hopefully enjoy in some capacity. So I hope that you all have liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe to see future videos from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!